Hello and welcome back to Bricks and Banner, the show with real talk from the custom LEGO community. I'm your host as always, Billy, and before we get into it, I want to remind you that on our Instagram page, that's bricks_and_banter, I upload a wrap-up post with every episode that has some images related to the discussion we had. So if you're feeling a little lost or you want the reference picture to something we're talking about, it's likely there. While you're on the page, be sure to repost that onto your story and get the word out about the podcast, or share it with a friend. I bet if you're enjoying this show, you know others who would like it as well. And that's one of the best ways to support the podcast if you are enjoying it. Additionally, you could go on Spotify or iTunes and rate it 5 stars. If you don't think it was 5 stars worthy, just don't rate it at all. That's cool. That's perfectly acceptable. If you actually have an issue with the podcast or you want to suggest something for the future, please reach out for me into the DMs on Instagram. That's the best way to get in touch. But with all that out of the way, it's my pleasure to once again introduce my guest. He was the first person to ever appear on Bricks and Banner, and it is about time we talked again. Today, I hope you'll enjoy my conversation with Tanner, aka Detroitika. We discussed my upcoming casting venture, which he plays a crucial role in, his work designing the camo for a recent Brickmania figure, future product ideas, and much more along the way. That's it. There's no more introductions necessary. Indulge.
Piece by piece, real talk alive. Brick by brick, piece by piece, real talk alive. Brick by brick, piece by piece, real talk alive. Brick by piece by piece.
Tanner,
Yes, Billy.
we're here.
Wow, where are we?
Oh my god, it's Bricks and Banner. Show with real talk for the custom LEGO community.
Wow, that's so much better than not in Kansas. Anyway.
We're here. It's you, Tanner. Detroitika. Mr. Detroitika. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing,
I'm
Mr.
doing well.
Billy?
Okay. Quite the greeting. It's almost reminiscent. So I'll just say it right off the bat because I didn't delayed saying it while we were talking briefly beforehand. I listened to our episode, which was over a year ago now, while I was at work today before we come and record this. And it blows my mind that I thought you could just create a podcast by clicking record and then stop recording and then uploading that and then people will listen to it. Blows my mind. It was terrible. Not for your fault. It's just the audio. It was charming. It was still it was fun to go down memory lane. But yeah, who knew we'd be back in the sack once again. I'm glad to have you back.
I don't know. I can't, like, I always wonder where you make the cuts when I'm listening to your podcasts because I can't really tell. So like,
That's what I want to hear. Honestly.
okay, yeah. It's more funny to you, I think, because like it's just a quality product. Except for maybe the the Itlug episode where you had all those like zoom forwards.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
Oh, we got way off topic there.
Yeah, because that one was such drastic jumps that I had to make a point of like, hey, there is a jump here. Because like, if you were just sitting there to listen normally, you'd be like, wait, why are they talking about a dead hamster now? This is crazy. Like, what happened to the normal podcast?
For Spikey's hot take.
Right. So listening back to it, I think there's one pressing question that I was reminded of. That I would not have really... It's been out of a lot of our minds, but I don't think it's ever truly left any of our hearts. And that's the Heeglock. And
no.
And now I know that in our first episode, okay, you had some strong feelings against doing such a thing. And I feel like now, given a little over a year of space and time for things to have settled, for people to have stopped harassing you on it, I thought it'd be a good time to readdress this issue and see if your thoughts have changed, if your heart's more open to the creation of the coveted a Heeglock.
Oh, I can't believe I didn't see that coming. Not at all. I didn't even dream of that. Wow, real talk from the custom LEGO community. Yeah, I mean, I feel similarly. The only difference, I guess, is that I'm a little less closed off, like because of maybe nostalgia,
Mm,
like about like simpler times.
yeah,
Come home to Simple Rick's,
yeah, yeah.
candy bar. Uh, I still don't plan to do it, but I'm not. I don't feel as viciously now, I guess.
I guess we'll have to readdress this in another year. Um, the annual Tanner appearances on the podcast will eventually will break you.
I'll be 40 and you'll be like, oh, fine.
Anyways, yeah, that wasn't something I expected to ask you either as we were preparing for this. And then on my way home, I was like, oh, I absolutely have to do this now. I'm required to. But yeah, we're here. How are you doing, man? I already asked that. We're here. Let's first say we're here on an important business. Okay, I think there's a
Oh,
lot.
yes.
There's a lot to
Business.
discuss.
Handshakes.
Yes.
HR.
Indubitably. Businessman. um, but yeah, we have a bit of a thing going. I've started a business. You are a crucial part of that business's first release. We're casting Lego items. No, scratch that. Sorry, Lego corporate. I am not. I repeat, I am not casting Lego items. I am casting.
Items for Lego.
Let's not even use that word. We're
You're
casting
right.
accessories for compatible brick figures. um, but yeah, that's a thing. I am in financial ruin. I'm bleeding money every day. Every day I have to buy another thing to cast with, because nothing ever works.
Oh, I thought you just meant CB, like in general.
Oh, that only makes it worse. But yeah, I figured we'd talk about that. So yeah, casting. Finally have a thing going. It's going well. It's interesting, but so I'd say this is weird because it's like I'm interviewing myself. I feel like I'm ranting at you. I don't want to do. This is so unlike a typical episode.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing here. In a typical episode, I don't know, we're here to hear a bit of you and also a bunch of what the guest is saying. But this time, I haven't really done anything. You've been doing all of the things.
This is okay. Yeah, you're actually the host this episode.
Oh.
Oh my. Okay,
Oh.
Tanner. I hope you prepared notes because now you're the host of the Bricks and Banner.
Okay, the only thing I thought of in the brief time before when we delayed this episode was
Yes.
what if I suggested an alternative to Copper Drop for Billy, and the segment is called it's called Pod or Trod, and it's a decision you make, and it's where I give you a person and you have to say whether you would get them on the pod or if you would trod on them, like don't trot on me, or like
Don't try.
or like
See, I wasn't.
stampedes on Black Friday, like that
Is
kind of
trod an actual word? Because it totally makes sense, and I absolutely know what you were saying, but I absolutely doubt it's a real word.
It's a verb.
Really?
I swear.
All right. This is like Scrabble rules. It's like, yeah, it makes sense. It kind of sounds like a word. That's enough.
Yeah, I didn't think of anybody actually, so I can't actually do the segment.
No.
It's purely hypothetical.
All right, Tanner, you are the host for the rest of this podcast. Instead of me interviewing myself for the entire time. Damn.
What if my secret is letting you interview yourself?
Yeah. Like any good interviewer, they have the guest interview themselves.
Deep. Okay. Anyway, where are you going? Where are you going with it?
Despite whoever the host is, we don't have to quarrel about that currently. But I don't want to take all the credit because like you have made the designs, but I have been putting in I've been putting in the hours. I put in the work, put in the hours, and I'm taking what's ours. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you've stayed hungry.
I've devoured.
devoured.
But
And it's really impressive. I have to say, I'm so happy to be a part of this. Even if it's just the beginning, like phase. This is, I mean, this is a powerhouse, not just for you and for your wallet, but like for the community. Like it's a new outlet to get things made and get them out there in super high quality, and I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, we're gonna see how this goes because if I'm not bankrupt after the first drop, then I think then it's safe to say we will be a powerhouse. But yeah, no, I'm excited for it. I feel conflicted like anything I do just because I'm critical of myself. And there's nights where I was popping pouches out of the mold, and I'm just like, this is gonna be a failure. This is not working. And then the next day, I'm like high as a kite. I'm like, yo, I can't. The community ain't ready. They're not ready for this. So at this point, I'm apathetic. I'm like, hey, look, at least I'm giving it a shot, and then we'll just see how it goes. It is truly my prank on the community as it's going to be releasing April 1st. It's just a meme. It's a meme. I just got to see what will happen. But anyways, I think I do have some things to discuss about it, so I will just platform myself. I'll interview myself here, because I love myself sometimes. Anyways, too tangential. Anyways, I'm saying anyways so much.
Self-help book.
All right, so some of the difficulties I feel like that are coming with the fact that I'm casting items. Oh geez, let's not even get into that.
Okay, we're not there
I still
yet.
got PTSD. No.
Other difficulties. Hit us.
Yeah, no, I'll get into that later. Just of the process. I mean, it's no secret that resin printing is the new rage, right? I mean, it's everywhere. It's rather easy to produce high quantities with,
Right. So exciting. Amazing tech.
and a lot of good friends doing it, and I plan to collaborate with them as well in terms of on this business front. And I mean, Sean already is a part of it. We really got the trifecta going. Wave one. I'm so excited. The boys. Anyways.
Oh,
Anyways.
yeah. Great products gonna come.
So to kind of go back to old technology and bring it back to try and do that, it's not lost on me that this is probably a bad idea. Like, I as I sit there and cast a single item into a single mold, I completely recognize that this is probably not that scalable. But with that said, I think there's a real charm to having a casted item. It's something I always loved about it when I had the few casted items I did from some people I really looked up to back in the day, like Josiah with Brick Affliction and Richard G. Bricks, his stuff. Incredible. The charm of it was that, like, the people I really look up to, or, the people's just work that I really enjoy, at one point sort of had their hand on this, like creating the original. And it's not to discredit anybody who's 3D modeling in any sense, because that just has as much touch as as much as an artist is touch than it does physically creating it. But being able to reproduce something just to make a reproduction of an item that would otherwise only exist as a unique one-off item in the universe, to have that be more widely available to a broad range of people, and that it sort of contains this special quality of it being formed by the artist's hands, it's always so unique. That's what I've really enjoyed about it. And so it's undoubtedly going to be impractical and difficult to produce quantity of, but I think it'll be worthwhile, and it's what I look forward to most about it. Especially because as of right now, I don't have the most robust sculpting abilities, so I really like.
That could change.
Yeah, I'm grinding. I'm out here. I'm trying. I have one good item that I'm really excited about, which we'll get into later.
I feel like you have a really genuine feeling about having someone's hands on it, like a thing. I didn't think about it until you said that. but I had the same feeling as a kid when, like, Lego books, like, they show like making of and stuff. And I remember seeing an image of, like, there's an original sculpt of the Lego Chewbacca headpiece, like the head and
Oh,
torso
wow.
piece. And maybe I'm thinking of not the Chewbacca one, but also
The
the
Ewok.
episode 3 Wookiee,
Oh,
with
okay.
the armor. And I
Yeah,
remember
yeah.
seeing that, like it's like an 8-inch tall real life sculpt, and looking at this little Lego piece in my hand and going like, wow, like this lady really like made this thing, and now I have this. Like, it was that same feeling.
Hmm. That is really interesting. Yeah, I don't know. There is something special to that. But once the website launches, I mean, it's so difficult to write about something I'm doing, but I have to have like an info page. And
Mm.
one of the main sort of, I don't know, like a ethos for the thing is that I plan to um collaborate with other artists so that their stuff can become more widely available. People who are making incredible stuff that otherwise would just be in their own personal collection. And there's nobody else really offering that. Um, and so that's why, despite all the difficulties and the unrealistic nature of casting in the age of resin printing, why I'm doing this. Yeah, I mean, upon other reasons of the fact that I can't 3D model to save my life. If somebody puts a gun to my head and is like, "Hey, you have to make a render of this," just tell my mom I love her. You know what I'm saying? That it's over right there, right? Um, and okay, so actually, sort of going into the mask thing. Okay, well, I said it. It's a mask.
Yes.
The I had an idea. I mean, everyone's super horny in the Lego community for the Jason masks.
Just cut it there. Just cut it there. That's a wrap, everyone.
Good night, guys. No copper drop this week. Um, no, everyone's super juiced to try and get like Citizen Brick's Jason masks in blanks or
Oh,
anything like that. Because
absolutely.
I mean, they're badass. Like having a mask for your figure, or what Danny created, doing the flat and file. Like, look,
Oh my god,
that
yeah.
I didn't even attempt it because I knew how much work that is to do, and he had people left and right doing it. That is a real testament to just the fact that people want it. Like to
They
have to
are
sit there and
horny. You're right.
to file a whole face off. Like, come on, no, you want that bad. So anyway, that I was just thinking about it because I mean I want it too. I want masks. So I was thinking about some just tribal masks or different cultures that use masks, and there's just tons and tons of interesting and unique designs. So that's some stuff I'm trying to work on. I have the first design. I'll add it into the wrap up. Um, it's like a oni mask inspired by like Japanese culture. I believe it's the folklore. It's a demon. It's actually not a demon, I believe, if I remember from my research. It can represent like a couple different things, like depending on the color. Like it could be like an angel or whatever. But anyways,
Hmm.
um, but yeah, it's like that typical with the like teeth and I don't know. It's just a badass looking
Oh,
mask. So I wanted to recreate it. I was not expecting to have success, and I certainly would not have had success if I went about it the traditional sort of route of having to hand sculpt it. But sort of to my abilities and why I've chosen to actually do molding over something that would require me to 3D model, just to play into my strengths. If I approached it more as modding than sculpting, and I had like elements of sort of kit bashing to create the final piece, um, it was just exponentially better. Like it actually looked like, oh wow, this is, solid. So this mask is turned into not only like my favorite or best mod that I would qualify it as, just like from all the work I've done, it'll be the first like product I've made myself, and I'll be able to produce them. And I mean, I have a mold already that's working with it. I just need to make more of them so that I can produce enough.
oh,
Um,
that's awesome.
so yeah, I don't know what I was getting at, but yeah, masks coming soon. It's in the wrap up post on Instagram. Check it out.
And it's awesome. He sent me one in product sample.
A
Uh,
terrible one, unfortunately.
No, it has a small air bubble at the end of the horn, but like that would be difficult, at least for me. There's some far better sculptors than I out there, but to just like sculpt a horn like that, sticking out that far, like from nothing.
Mm,
Um, so I think your modding really, really did benefit.
yeah, yeah. I'm not gonna to use the term again. I mean, it will be cut out from the last time, but not to speak on the how the sausage is made, but it's definitely a lot more modding than sculpting on my end.
Huh. I so some people will remember this, um, but something that should really be brought up is that a long time ago, in 2013 through 16, um, I was casting my own pouch designs.
Mm.
Now the thing is, it was a lot more rudimentary and a lot more work, and they sucked a lot more than Billy's pouches. I have some old like raw casts right here, and it's like the pouch usually with a couple bubbles, and then like the resin would expand out the back of the open mold, so it's like
Mm.
this bubble. It's like a little marshmallow, um, like completely covering the back of every one. And it would take like 5 to 10 minutes to
To
like
file it.
fix each. Yeah,
Uh,
and it's these nice flat like super shiny backs, sometimes a little bit of a dip that can like fit onto a curved vest. Like they're just ideal.
yeah, I
And I'm realizing what a blurse it is that you're so good at casting them. Specifically I was checking out the BAR pouches. So they're kind of a boxy one with a triangular
I see
flap
what you're
on
getting
top.
at here. Yes, yeah.
Yes. Do you know it? The little error in sculpting I have on the bottom left corner, there's like a little mark on my mold of it. That's not visible because it didn't capture all the detail, and it's just kind of smoothed over. But on yours, there it
It comes
is,
through.
full
Yeah, it's
glory.
funny. I really I I did overestimate how much detail it would hold from my original mask mold.
Yeah.
Because some of the like Procreate was kind of rough yet. Like it was like there's I mean not rough exactly in texture or anything, but there was like a layer to it that dived from that into like the base layer of the mask, and I was like, that won't show, and it does, and I'm like, oh, that's like really strange because it's almost like paper thin. It's like I almost can only tell it visually because the sculpting material was different than the base mask. So to see it pop up in the cast, I was like, "Oh, that's like a lot. I can't get away with anything when I make a reproduction of it."
You know how people starting with Toby are saying we can't let him keep getting away with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
This
yeah.
is it. Your molds are the end point. They're not going to let anyone get away with anything.
um Speaking on the cast though, also one additional point. I can't even believe I didn't mention you graciously gave me some of your casts in the past. Which I knew you had a very limited supply of, and yeah, those were another piece where it's just like, man, I have this really unique item that was made by my friend, and now I'm able to own one as well. And
Oh,
so,
that's
anyways,
awfully nice.
but in terms of actually producing um, the molds, and you mentioned some of them having a sunken back, which I initially, I would say more often than not, they have a bit of a sunken back as opposed to entirely flat, which I know is something. Um, I mean, it's in terms of people who are producing, injection molded pouches or a resin printed one. I mean, you're gonna always opt for the flat back. So in my mind, it was immediately a defect, and it was a real issue that I couldn't sort of um, overcome in terms of like how to fix that necessarily. Um, but from everyone I've sent it to, they've kind of decided it's really not that big of a problem with them. They still glue on rather nice. If anything, you have to put a little bit of additional glue, or you could try and glue maybe say like a piece of scrap and then glue. Anyways, I don't want to be. I just want to be honest about the product. But what I sent them to Jackson, and he said, "Oh, these are excellent. Now I'm able to stick sticky tack on it, and it's completely hidden by the edges of the pouches."
Oh,
But gives a completely solid back for it to stick onto the vest. So like if you place the sticky tack and like it sprays out the sides,
Yeah,
Like with oh yeah, I don't know if you use sticky tack
I
often for your
don't. I
pouches.
don't. But I've
Yeah,
seen
all
it.
right, all right.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. So I would typically do that for all my TT stuff. I would use sticky tack so I don't have to glue it and then try and cut it off and then sand it or whatever if I was going to reuse them. So I would always use sticky tack and it would always spray out of the sides if you use too much of it. So you had to use the tiniest amount and you had to barely press it down onto the vest so that it'll like stick. But because they're domed on the back slightly, um you're able to put like a generous amount of sticky tack. It sticks to the vest and it doesn't show from the sides because it's kind of like captured in it. So every I don't know, everything has sort of a bright side, I suppose.
Definitely space for activities.
Yeah, yeah. Um I feel like there's more to even talk about. I we kind of almost entirely brushed over the fact that you created all these pouch designs. Um when so I imagine these are kind of a lot of various designs you've sort of amassed over the years, all hand sculpted, of course. Um, can you tell me more about them? Because I don't even think we've discussed it honestly, and when might have been like the first designs, like when these were sculpted.
Wow. Sure. Let me pull up the picture of all the ones you have. Okay. My my pouch journey, I mean, it obviously starts kind of with Tiny Tactical, but really it starts with Bonsai, Taylor Green, who in 2012 and 13, like, I was trying to grow my custom abilities, find out who I was going to be in this Lego community, and he he didn't do the same level of customizing, but he loved like the stuff, and he loved Battlefield 3,
Mm,
and he was wanting me to make all these Battlefield 3 things, including, I mean, that obviously led directly into making specific pouches from Battlefield 3. And looking at the lineup, I don't think any of them, like specifically from that game, made it in.
okay.
But from that, right from that era, the large utility pouch for utilizing, that the
the
best
definitely
description on the whole site.
the definitely not medical pouch that
Yes,
I
the definitely
appropriated
not.
due to my ignorance.
That's fine. It was made as a medical pouch, but we're revising history there, so maybe it wasn't made as a medical pouch. Um, yeah, that was one of the earliest ones. You can definitely see the quality problems. It wasn't even made to cast. It was made just to like have one.
Mm,
Um, and yeah, that's not the way I would do Mole or Molly, whatever how you want to say it these days. But that's what it is. I honestly, when I sent you these pouches several months ago, you were talking
oh
about you wanted to
yes,
start casting. I didn't think it would like be this big.
right,
I was
right.
just like, oh, he's gonna make a few. I might be able to like get a few more to use, so my stock won't be the end of my, of all of my pouches
Yeah, it won't be
ever.
the end of the line.
Yeah. Instead, you send me like this gigantic. Okay. I said this to you in a DM, but people need to hear this. Uh, you are able to make such a massive quantity of pouches compared to what I was able to do
Thankfully, with
so
pouches, I
quickly.
can do so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's like so limitless,
Do you want to
which
take
is
a
funny because you've talked about the limits,
right? Yeah.
but
With
yeah,
having
I'm enthused.
a one part mold, that's in terms of like how many I can produce is like endless. Like that's like the bread and butter. I could really just pump those out, which is great for the pouches. So, like you were saying, you sent me these pouches as just like a little side project. I got into the casting stuff as a nice little quarantine hobby, which again was making me bleed money. I lost so much money doing the initial casts, and I had literally nothing to show for it because without the pressure pot, I was making such terrible molds that they weren't producing anything real. Like I literally ended up with two items that worked, and I was like, "This is a
Oh.
success."
Stonks.
But I loved it though. Like it was really fun to work with as a process. And
Hmm.
so I kind of left it there though because I was kind of as much fun as it was, I knew going forward I'd have to invest more money to get it working and I was just kind of burnt from spending a lot of money in it, not really producing much. But so you sent me them and I'm like, "All right, these are easy enough to mold. Like, even without upgrading, I could probably mess around and it'll work out, blah, blah, blah. And I don't need to make many. It's just enough for, me and Tanner to have, and maybe we'll send a few if there's extra to some other friends. Um, and they sat on my desk for a couple months, probably more than a couple months, honestly. And then it was like, oh yeah, all right, I'll buy this new molding material. Because I went around to actually try and cast them, and the mold mix I had expired. So I was like, all right, I'll go. I buy a new mold mix, blah blah blah. I make start messing around, and again, I'm running into issues with bubbles. So I'm like, all right, at this point, it's unavoidable that I will have to buy a pressure pot to continue working, so it can eliminate bubbles. Um, but it kind of sat there. I was just like at that point of like, all right, well, I'll have to do this to continue. And then time passes and I'm bored and I'm like, all right, I think now's the time. Got back on the horse, and then I mean, now here we are. I mean, really within a month it's kind of all come together in this weird way. Um but yeah, so that was the origins, which I meant to catch on to before, and it really is kind of, this wasn't the intention, but man's just wanted a few pouches to customize, and here we are.
I love it. I would ask you where you're going to go with it, but we know where you're going to go with it. You're going to go big.
Hopefully. If people like it. I have, okay, so I bought this site like subscription for a year, right? Just to save money. I'm like, all right, I'll at least give it the shot for the year. So at the end of the year, in next February, if things ain't working, BM Forge is over. There's no more BM Forge. So that's the deadline. I have a year to lose money, and if after that it's just like then so be it. But
according to a lawyer I know, if your small business makes more than $500, you can register as a small business, and all of the expenses can be tax free.
Oh yeah. I have a spreadsheet already of all the tax write offs.
Oh, that's right. You're on the grind. You're
yeah. Yeah, no. If I'm gonna bleed money, I've got to make the best of it. Brick Fair, Virginia this year. That's a business expense, dog. What are you talking about? Okay. Yeah, no. I'm gonna milk it for all it's worth.
Yard sale, straight milking.
But
like a cow.
Going back to so yeah, it's a real blessing that the pouches are something that's super easy to cast essentially, and I can make a large amount of them. I want a fun little game. How many pouches do you think I've created in total?
Oh no. I'm just gonna real quick count one of the sheets here.
Oh gosh. Okay. Because I don't actually know my total anymore. I thought I wrote it down, and now I don't have it anymore. So I'll have to look for mine as well. We could reconvene once you find that.
I'm gonna guess 1,500 or more.
It's definitely more.
Oh, wow.
If I can recall the number correctly, I believe, and this isn't entirely accurate because there's a lot of first generation pouches that I made, which are then anyways. I believe the rough range is 5,600.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. I have something for you.
Oh?
Okay, so very, very briefly, kind of shortly before he disappeared.
Yes.
I actually sent some of my old couches.
My old couch. I sent my old couch in a trade.
Oh, I sent some of my old casted pouches. Oh, I need a second. I sent some of them to Josiah, who was just an awesome guy, and he sold them. And I have a photo of what I sent him to sell.
Okay.
We both lost money on it. It was only I did the math, and I could have made no more than I think $60 was the high I could have possibly made off of this.
You actually have
it
the
might
photo?
Have been less. I have a photo of everything I sent him.
Please share, please.
Okay.
Send it over on Instagram.
Uh,
And I'll add it to the wrap up if that's all the
yes,
same.
that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I have like an MSRP and the quantity and the name on each little baggie that I sent him. And 60 may have been I may have been remembering that wrong. It may have been like 30 was my max profit. I don't remember. But
Oh man.
here it is, 15 each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times 15. And that was
Wow.
like the lion's share. That was like so many to me.
Wow.
So
Yeah, and you were selling all these for just 50 cents a piece about?
I don't think they're really moved. I don't think many people bought them, so he still has them.
Goodness.
Yeah. But 5,600 folks, listeners, this is a big deal. My guest, Billy, is talented. And actually, like, that's kind of another like point here. These are really good. They're really good casts. And so some of you may know I was selling the Scion or Sion, how do you say it, visors.
Oh
this
yeah,
summer.
yeah.
I had issues with the guy who was casting him. He's not a Lego community guy. He's someone I found online. Yeah, he was not good, and the casts are not good. And I had to spend forever like trimming them to make them better, but they still weren't good. See the left side earpiece? Every single one is messed up.
Oh yeah, right.
At this point in time, Billy, I'm confident you could cast them better than he did, and he had been doing this for like decades.
We'll see. Getting into the more complex molds is there's a steep learning curve. So
right. Forgive me if I put pressure on you. For
no,
stuff,
the pressure is needed.
It's so exciting.
I need to get there with that stuff.
Right. Like I want like Dylan or like whoever to sculpt this amazing thing, and then 3 months later I can buy one. That's what I want. That's what I want.
It's the goal, man. Speaking about Josiah, this is a weird thing. It always stuck with me. Okay, anyway, Josiah was genuinely one of the nicest individuals I knew from the community way back when. He was around the age I am now when I first probably met him, and I was just a wee annoying kid at the time. And yeah, he was just always nothing but nice to me at Brick for Virginia, and also for anybody. Actually, oh yeah, it was Bricks Alive, Brick Z Alive on Flickr, and he was running Brick Affliction for a time there, which is a really popular casting company who they were creating their own sculpts and casting them. And so he's gone from the community now, completely retired out of it. But one of the years, as it was like clear, like this is probably the last time he's going to be, attending Brick Fair, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm totally getting out of it, whatever. He mentioned to me on an offhand comment, which, and in hindsight, I can't tell if he was joking or not. But I don't think he would have played such sort of like a cruel joke in a sense. But he almost offered me Brick Affliction. He was like, if you want it, like you could cast and I'll give it over to you. And I was like, oh yeah, I mean that'd be cool, but like I didn't think much of it. I'm like, I don't have the talent for that. Like I was seeing the sculpts they were making. I was super self-conscious about it. I'm like, I don't have the ability for this at all. Like it was way out of my depth. And so I mean nothing ever came of it. And again, I don't think he would have said something like that to troll me in any way, like, haha, like you want it or something like that. You know what I mean? I believe he genuinely just put it out there because it's just like, hey, I mean, you're a nice enough kid from what I know. Like if you wanted to, like if I could help you get it going, whatever. So it's always just stuck with me because it was a very generous thing for him to say. And now it's just ironic that here I am.
I'm speechless. Wow. Well, he's always been a nice person, and he saw a quality person who, I mean, you have the markers of staying in this for the long run and being dedicated to a good, whatever you make, your attitude is such that we know you're going to make something good, you know.
Mm,
I can
that
only
does
guess
mean a
that he
lot.
saw that in young you, who you did like a voice impression. You sounded like Morty, like impersonating your younger self. Like, wow, that is so that's so kind. That's amazing. And yeah, now here you are with this crazy ability and a pressure pot.
And a pressure pot, which is not a bomb. Any federal agents that are listening, it is not to be confused with any other sort of pressure devices which may or may not have been used in terrorist attacks. I am not a terrorist. I am making Lego figures that sometimes do resemble terrorists, but that is by pure coincidence that the imagery might reflect actual conflicts that are occurring in the world. Uh, I'm digging myself into a hole here, but this is a perfect transition. Tanner, how was it designing the camo which Brickmania has used for their Ukraine figure?
Oh my god. Uh, um, it was good. It was I was up late, you know, at nights, just not knowing what to do, just watching, you know, this horrific destruction unfold in real time. And you know, this obviously it hasn't like done a ton, and you could especially like say did make a difference based on the fact that Lando is already a great camo designer and would have done it anyway. Like he
Mm.
would have made a great version of the design with or without me. I just helped speed it up by a couple days, I guess. But it was really fun. You know, going going in depth for a couple days, staying up late and cracking out some code that would uh, make it look right. Colors were a big question mark because it's a 5 color camo, and two of them in particular are really similar to each other.
Mm.
So there was some question about what it would be like. What are we even trying to put down on the figure in the end? But Lando figured that all out himself pretty much, and the results speak for themselves.
Yeah, yeah, it's an
I'm
excellent
happy to have
piece.
been part of it.
Yeah, no, the efforts were certainly worthwhile. It's really come together. It's cool to see people gathering around something to make a difference. Um, I'm rather I don't like to think of myself as a cynical person. I don't know where I'm going with this. I just can completely understand all the criticisms that some people have raised to it being almost like tone deaf to create create a figure based on a real conflict that's going on as a toy. It's so strange. I think that's really kind of the summary is that it's extremely strange, and there really is a lot of levels of disconnection from the situation that makes it absurd. I know for some people it could come across just like hopping on a trend almost, like with how many people have now started making stuff to contribute over there. Um, so I don't know. It toes this strange line of we're in a hobby that some could say almost glorifies war, and there's this very strange disconnect from profiting off of war crimes, and yet here we are doing our best to try and help people who are impacted by that. And also it could be seen as like oddly virtue signaling, and I don't know. There's a lot of mixed feelings that I could see coming from it, but
Yes, a lot of valid claims and arguments in there. A lot. Like,
uh, what I know is that from all the people who have sort of contributed to it, I know at least they as individuals are genuine. So whether or not it comes across a certain way or it was helpful, if it at the end of the day even benefited anybody, like everyone's heart was sort of in the right place, that hopefully something could be done. I think that's a summary, but it's messy. It really is.
yeah.
I don't blame anyone who's sort of critical of people making $100 plastic figures to support a war effort based on a figure that's based on the war. I like it's really obscure. It's really a strange thing to break down.
Yeah, as someone who was involved in it, I feel the same way. I totally acknowledge that there's yeah, it's weird, you know. Might in who knows in the long run whether it turns out to have been exactly the right thing to do or not, but it's it's tough to navigate this world where knowing that what looks like the best move right now might not always like it might
Mhm.
not actually be
Mhm.
the best move in the long run. So it's tough. We have to draw the line between like how confident am I?
I think the TLDR is that it's confusing and I don't know, but at least you're trying something, I suppose. It's better than having not taken action and then in hindsight it's like, "Oh, yeah, maybe we could have actually been of benefit." But who's to say?
Yeah, it's probably. I think
Mhm.
I feel that way. One thing away from like the ethics of it, one thing that confuses me about this is Brickmania has launched that figure. They've launched what, two other figures? Is there a third one
Um
by now? I don't know,
I
but like
feel
that,
like there is a third one by now. Yeah.
they're
They
yeah,
they
right.
made the
Their
president.
kit,
Oh yeah, and there's countless kits. I never keep up with the kits.
yeah, like all for this project, and they've raised so much less than Citizen Brick.
Right.
How does that work?
Just Citizen Brick got I don't know. They just got swept up by the media, so they really found a lot of traction, I suppose. But it
Mm,
is kind of mind blowing because, yeah, I mean, Brickmania's devoted a lot more sort of screen time, it seems, to that stuff, um,
yeah,
in terms of
it's a
designs and
it's a
all
huge
this.
margin though. I don't
Yeah,
understand. Isn't you can cut this if you have to, but isn't Citizen Brick like? Did I read 144,000?
yes, yeah,
And that was when they got interviewed.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, that's the final total, pretty much.
oh, you're right. You're right. Because they're not. You're
It
right.
all sold
They're
out.
making more.
They made 1,000 figures and sold them all for 100 each. And I could not believe that they sold out within 24 hours. I
Oh
was
my gosh!
surprised. Like it was incredible. Just
Wow.
the fact that he could move that many items.
And the rest all had to come from Molotov cocktails, didn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow. And Brickmania is at like 30K.
Yeah.
I just wow.
And that's not to give him flack. It's just like puzzling. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I don't understand like how it's so different. But wow, good for Joe on all accounts.
hmm hmm I like he literally must have stopped everything to print. I don't even know where he sourced the parts from to get 1,000 because those legs are pretty rare.
Oh, right, right.
So he really pulled out all the stops, had the presses going all night. It seems like to get everything going. It's unreal, but
Nice. His army of college kid workers just skipping classes. I don't even know if he has college kids working for
no,
him
he does
anymore.
not. But speaking of the collaboration stuff, you also had a recent some like nights with Little Brick Armory, I believe. Tell me more about that because I saw that post on your story like out of the blue, and I was like, oh, sick. This is just like I don't know. I just want to know more about it, man.
Thanks. That really was exciting. It was out of the blue. Uh, so this guy revamped. I can never exactly remember their name, but they made custom medieval and modern products in the early 2000s. And I think they died like as or before Brick Arms was like coming to life in 2006. But he revived their products first, and he is a mold out selling those, also reselling them through Brick Guild. And out of the blue, uh, he he tells me on Discord like, "Hey, uh, we love the kettle. I love the kettle helmet that you made." And I'm like, "Cool, which one?" Because I made like I don't know 4 original kettle hat things.
Right.
Kettle hat being like a just a general term for a lot of types of broad brimmed medieval helmets, generally with like an open face, just a nice little circle hard hat for the top of your head, protect you from from those pikes and spears. But yeah, he contacted me out of the blue. He's like, "Hey, I love this one that you made," and it's like an old Flickr photo. It's a Witcher inspired custom, and I sculpted this helmet, um, and it's like, "Oh wow, well, great! I'm glad you're interested in making something based off of it. Here's what it's based on." Um, and the thing it was based on has this nice like bell curve swoop in it,
Mm-hmm.
and like the rivets are like bigger and better. Um, and so I sent him that. It's like, hey, like you could make this. Don't just make mine, make it better. And I sent him some like measurement photos almost of the helmet that I made. Like I stacked up a bunch of uh, plates, Lego plates, like white and gray in stripes, and like laid it out so they could measure like how wide it was and like the angles. I put cheese slopes and took a perpendicular like cheese slopes and like the like 3x1 slopes to like right next to it to give him the angle. And he has a modeler that modeled it, and yeah, they made it. It's a prototype. They've got this awesome chainmail thing, like this hood they put on the bottom. I just got two prototypes of it.
Are
One
they
with the
resin
chainmail, one
printed?
without. Yep, they're resin printed, but they're
Sweet.
not going to be sold like that. Supposedly, eventually, they're getting injection molded, just like the rest of his
Oh,
stuff.
that's great.
Yeah, so super exciting. Really out of the blue. I love it. It's better than my original.
Yeah.
There's really not a lot more to it. It just happened.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like one day, oh, this is cool. And then the next day you're like, oh, here it is. It's like, wow, all right then.
Yeah, yeah, pretty sweet. But this sort of thing may happen more quickly now. To turn the lens of this podcast back to you,
Yes. See,
um,
this truly is your podcast now as the host because this is exactly where I was going to go with the conversation next. So please do take it away.
do you anticipate? Um, do you anticipate more of one or the other? It's the future. You're up and running. You're making things left and right. You've got a booming online store in year two because you made it. You're
We're not
filing
bankrupt yet.
taxes. Yeah. Um, hopefully, you're filing taxes. And, you know, do you see more that like you're just it's a summer beautiful day, you're scrolling on Instagram singing I don't know, a Too Much Billy song mixed to
Oh
yourself.
my
I don't know what
gosh.
you're doing. And then you see a great new custom by a random Instagram account. And you go, hey, I want to make your product to that random person. Do you see yourself doing that more? Or do you see yourself being more like a sitting monarch who people come to with designs and they're like, please, please, Lord Billy, cast my little I don't know what my like FAL mod with a special stock, and you're like, I don't deign to lift my finger for your FAL mod. I don't need this. Get out of here. Which
It is rubbish.
it is rubbish.
Be gone.
Peasant filth. So there's a question in there. Which one do you see yourself doing?
All right,
more?
let me find the question first. Certainly the second. No, I'd imagine it's going to be a mix of both. I really hope that once my work gets out there, people will look forward to sort of working with me. I mean, not that's like a strong way to put it, but just that the quality will be high enough. And okay, so let me take that back a bit.
Okay.
The reason I made a website for this at all and didn't just try and sell it to people through Instagram DMs was because I was focused on it being sort of collaborative based. I figured, so simply talking with you, okay, you mentioned the fact that you don't want to have to deal with what you dealt with your ski-on visors, or however they're pronounced,
Mhm.
and all the fulfillment end and having to fix them all up, like all of this stuff, which is really the messy bits of having something to sell, right?
Yes, yes.
And so I'm not scared of that. I'm fine with taking that sort of responsibility on. So I imagined if I'm going to be working with other artists to do this, if I have a place for them to come to that, I'll offer the distribution service as well, that might be like really, really appealing. And I'm sure there will be some people, if I work with them in the future, that just want their part and I send it directly to them, right? And they do with it as they please. But I think for a lot of people, they would be interested in it kind of just being its own self-sufficient sort of system. Um, so I've sort of structured it so that I can be that ladder where people come to me with their meek designs and ask for my bless. Like there's a bit of like intentionality that I designed it so that people, um, might approach me to sort of like kind of take their design and bring it to market in a sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, especially at the start, it's going to be a lot of like, hey, just like cold calling, like, hey, I want to make this. So it's a mix of both, with I guess less monarchy in the second depiction, but
All right, that's good because to that point, how do you feel about once I've trimmed them all, selling all of my Scion visor restock for me
oh my
through your
gosh.
site? Dude,
Yeah,
there's hundreds.
are you serious?
Yeah, I'm serious. I got them like months late because, like I said, the caster was a bad person. And they were more flawed than the first batch after we had talked specifically about fixing the problem. Anyway, that's a side note. I have them. I need to fix them.
I didn't
I
know there was a
don't.
second batch.
Yeah. There's lots more gray now, as well as white.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm certainly willing to do so.
Good,
Um
because I don't want to ship them. That was so bad. People were like, "Hey, have you shipped my order yet?" Like innocent, good people who spent money, and I had to be like, "Ah, no, I am a lousy, busy person who has not shipped your order yet." I hate that.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
If you take that away, I would be oh so happy.
Okay, we could figure that out.
Yeah, yeah, okay. well,
All
well,
right, people
great.
could look forward to that. But I'll say I'm gonna bleep their names to get people, get people going. But I'll tell you who they are. Uh,
Interesting.
no, I've already talked to some people who are resin printing to resell their items on my site. So
Hey, well, one of them obviously has been announced, and that's great.
yeah,
But
yeah.
more.
So Sean, potentially that one I won't bleep, I guess. Sean, if in the future I might sell some of his other designs, which have just not even seen the light of day for most people, like his he created the why can't I think of, oh my god, he made AK-47 PMags, which I adore. Like I was the one who requested him to design this. Like he's like, of course I've have it on my list, but I just hounded him so that it would be created, and he made them, and it's literally on like one of my favorite, like personally favorite. It's not all too special, but the green sort of camo AK I made with the his PMag is
Oh, that one's beautiful.
it
Put that
sits
shit
on
in the roundup, man. Oh, it's so good.
it sits on my desk, and I really do just kind of oogle it sometimes. I don't know why, but the way the green camo came together just really does it for me. And his design work on the PMag was exceptional. His resin printing quality is exceptional for like, and I don't understand why. That, not to discredit, like from other people that I've gotten a wide range of resin prints from a lot of different people, and they all vary in quality. And his has undoubtedly like been some of the best. Like I don't even attempt to sand it. Like a lot of people get their resin parts and they sand them off to get some of the layers off, right?
Mhm.
To give it a more smooth finish. I don't even bother with the prints that Sean sends me. They are like so crisp. I completely do not understand how they, like in comparison to other brands, are so much more exceptional. And this really feels like I'm blowing smoke to like promote a product of mine, but I swear to you, like I don't know where the discrepancy between his quality and others comes from.
You don't have to swear to me. Swear to the audience, because I can back some of that too. Because I've got those PMags. I lost one. I'm not sure where it is. I'm not sure.
Rip.
It's. I have it. It's in one of my many little bins. But they're very very nice.
Yeah.
Exactly like you were saying. I would not even dream of trying to sand the face with the good PMAG-ish details. There's no need to. It's great. And you sent me a sample vest
Yeah. Yeah.
of his with the samples. Oh, it's great. So I'm excited to customize it.
So certainly, I look forward to working with him more in the future, and I think it'll be, I think it would work out nicely reselling some of his items because he has a plethora of designs that people literally just don't even know exist, like of stuff that people really could want in the community that there is no substitute for. Like I was in my recent post, the Rhino mount. That's not out there. Like just to have a blank Rhino mount, like
I
anyway.
have to see this.
Second recent post, the
B
Dev Guru
underscore
figure.
M.
I
Oh
can
my
send you a better
god.
pic later, but
I hate this. I hate this. When I type B underscore M into my search bar,
too much Billy comes up.
too much Billy comes up, and followed by BM Forge. You're not even. I don't even see you. You're not, more underscore
What
CB
the
comes
heck?
up before you. Brick Mania Mare Island.
See, I started typing it on my account as well, and too much Billy comes up way quick before me. That's so weird.
I'm gonna take a screenshot and send it to you for.
Were you even able to find my account?
It's. I swear it's not on here. I scrolled down. Okay.
All right, I sent you the post.
Okay.
It's but
BM underscore.
so yeah, would certainly love to work with him more in the future. He is the homie. Yeah. Okay. And then so additionally, there's a good friend of mine who does resin casting who I've been talking to. They are going to continue to resin cast, but managing their site and all was just kind of too much of a hassle. So they're discontinuing that, and I'm going to potentially take on their items as like a resell kind of thing.
Interesting. Have they announced their
No.
discontinuation?
Oh yeah.
Yet?
So for no.
So it could be anyone.
It could be anyone.
Wow.
He's nowhere close to leaving the community, but he's just like, if I could have people resell my stuff instead, he's like, that'd be sick. I don't know like what the optics are of that from like an outside thing, like if it waters down the objective of the company, like if I start reselling other people's items. But as like a fan, if I could go to one spot and place an order from like all different people that I wanted, and I could save on shipping, because I'm a real whore about shipping. Like I will not place an order because of the shipping sometimes, even though it's like, oh yeah, you're spending like $50, but now the shipping's $5. It's like, yeah, you know what? Forget it. Like I didn't need to spend that $50 anyway. So if I could go to one place and I got like a couple different people's stuff, even if it was just like reseller, like it's not their work, like that's more than A-okay with me. That's like ideal. So I don't know if other people like that necessarily. I don't know if it will look weird, but I think that'll be it. It's certainly not the focus, but it doesn't really detract or distract me from what I'm going to be doing, I believe. If it turns into that, if that's going to be like an issue once I actually am in the midst of it, then like, yeah, then things will have to get reconsidered, and maybe I stop doing that and I need more time to focus on casting. But I don't think it'll take away from it. I think it would just, they'll work hand in hand to promote each other. And what's the difference of adding one more item into an order to ship to somebody than, what it would be anyway. So anyways,
I love that idea. I mean, that's the whole appeal of like huge resellers, is that they have everything, right?
Yeah.
And you can be a whore about shipping.
I gotta say, I literally did it today. I did it 20 minutes before we recorded.
No, you didn't. Don't tell me that.
Dash, who's in the copper drop, for a recent commission he did. I got the heads from him, and he sent me something 2 days ago, and then he got these, which I wasn't expecting could come in so soon. And he's like, all right, yeah, so it's XYZ shipped. But I only got 2 heads. So the shipping like is the price of like an additional head. I'm like, listen here, dog. You're just gonna have to hold that until I buy something else from you because I'm not paying shipping on that right now. Especially after you just shipped me something 2 days ago. I'm like, you're not doing this right now.
Oh,
So
man.
bless Dash, real homie. He
Yeah.
doesn't mind holding my shit for undisclosed amount of times, and then I forget that there's stuff waiting to be sent to me. He's a good dude. All the love.
Oh, oh wow. You know,
Anyways.
I actually I feel bad. I did something very similar to that in 2015. I did it uh to Peyton, to Brick Tactical,
Oh
before it was Brick
goodness.
Tactical. What happened was, back then, you know, I thought I was hot shit, and I thought I could design decals.
Okay.
I couldn't. Spoiler alert, they were all bad. But you know, he was I don't no, he was molding at the time. He was printing too at the time. And he I had him print one of my decal designs. And it was a really simple, like, 4-pocket uniform
Okay.
with a little collar. And I just wanted it on like plain torso so I could paint camo
Oh, I see.
like around the
Sure.
print.
Yeah.
And I was so cheap. I was like, wow, you know, that's great, but you printed like a few of them. Oh, I'm only gonna spend the money on 2. And can we just wait until I get like a bigger order? You know, I'm not, you know, I was a little shit. And eventually they got eaten by the sands of time, and they're gonzo.
Oh my
They're nowhere.
gosh.
They've been Thanos snapped. So I never got them because I behaved so poorly. Like,
Wow.
so yeah, Dash is a homie for holding you
For
in.
sticking in this.
Yeah, we're sticking with it.
That is funny though.
Oh, back to your original point.
There was a
I-
point.
There was a point. It's back when you were talking about hosting other people's products on your site.
Okay, yes.
I agree with you that I don't think it'll detract as long as the website is well organized. It is as simple as that.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well, I'll make sure that's a focus.
And if you need more focus, literally like make the button for hand casted products bigger and first. You know,
I see.
right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. There's definitely some ways around that, like the engineering of the site. Yeah, it's a good point.
so I'm excited for that direction. That'll be cool.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, hopefully things go according to plan. We could spoil some other stuff we might be working on in the future?
Oh yeah, sure. What are we working on in the future?
Oh, who's to say? Well, I was casting your pouches as you posted the night. What are gauntlets? Greaves? What are greaves?
Yes. Okay. Gauntlets are, yes, they are your hands.
What are greaves?
Greaves are shin armor.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yep.
Well, there's no
Very
greaves yet.
No,
However, there are.
there probably never will be, given the dimension of Lego figures.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
that would be difficult. I'd have to cast the full foot then. Which I mean, hey, who's to say?
Oh, okay.
Who's to say?
Okay.
However, but yeah, I was already working on the pouches when you posted that, and immediately I was like, oh, I need to cast these. Like, I'm not even a huge medieval fan, but that it's such a unique item, and the sculpt came out so good. To have just hands with the armor on them would be super sick. And thankfully you've already shipped them out to me. I've started working on them. They're coming together. It's doable. They will happen.
Dear listeners, by coming together, he means that he totally failed making his first mold. I want you to know that. I'm blowing the whistle on Billy and his lies.
The smoke screen of me being a professional caster has completely dissipated now. I am a fraud. There are no pouches actually.
They're all holograms.
Dude, I was
Fools.
okay. It happened once before when I was just trying to start casting, where I had
What happened once before?
okay. Well, so essentially, it failed for a different reason in the past time, but I seem to have bad luck when it comes to creating a large batch of molded parts of
Hmm.
just the molds. Let me say molds. I misspoke there.
Oh
Of
yeah.
just molds, and I hate creating molds because they take so much longer to cure. It's like kind of annoying, and you have to set up the whole mold thing. Anyways, um, so it's best if I make a batch of them. So there's a couple different designs, and I get a bunch of molds all at once, and then I could start running all those molds at the same time. It's just way more efficient that way. However, both times that I've tried to cast above a single mold at once, more than one design, and I mean I'm talking these are all separate molds that being created, right? There's not like one mega mold. Okay, on both occasions which I have done this, they have failed tremendously. So three times a charm. It's what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Hopefully it'll work out. um, but so the first time I did it, way before like I was doing this well, um, I forgot to at the time I was using Vaseline to coat the item so that once I place the second layer of rubber, it just won't stick to the rubber itself, and then you can remove the item. Entirely forgot that step. I created like 6 molds of my mods. Destroyed every single mod. They all have like scratches on them from me trying to recover the item out of a
Oh,
just coffin of silicone.
oh no.
So that was actually kind of what stopped me from doing it previously. Like way back when it was just a quarantine project. That was like, yeah, I'm kind of burnt now. this is
Yeah,
this is a
that would
bad
burn me.
this is a bad feeling
Oh,
now. So
it's a die in Minecraft and lose all your stuff moment.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. I dug straight down and it was right into lava. There was no recovering from there. I had to take a break. But so uh the beginning of this week I made there was like 8 separate molds there. I mean, some of them were hands, so it was like a pair, but I made each hand into a separate mold in and of itself. So anyway, there's like 8 molds there to be made though. And I had them all set up. Took me like 3 hours to like configure them. But I knew these would be more or less a test. It was to see if I could be lazy and didn't have to make like all these like vents and stuff. Um, I think I learned my lesson. I think I was smited for my laziness, quite honestly. So now I do have to actually make second versions of these, which I plan to do, but not right now.
you weren't smited. You were trod upon.
Yes, I was trod, and so I come home from work the next day because I had him just sit and there in the pressure pot. I undo it all, and it looks like a monstrosity. There is just these ah, grotesque bubbles bubbling out of the molds that I made, and so just yeah, the whole reason I put it in the pressure pot was to compress the bubbles and get rid of them so that they won't affect the cast. And I don't know what happened this time. I've used this resin this this silicone before, it wasn't an issue. All of them had extreme bubbles in the molds. I ran them once and I've sent you the photo. I'll put it in the wrap up. They look the finished products, there was like 5 items that came out perfectly clean, like unaffected, because there wasn't like a bubble directly a part of where the resin was supposed to fill.
Oh, you didn't tell
Um,
me that.
yeah, it was just some of the pouches. Um,
Oh, okay.
and so, although, yeah, anyways, um, the ones that did fill though with air bubbles now have like tumor esque features to what
Oh,
was a normal design, and it's the resin I'm using cures into an off white color, and they're just I unmolded all of them, and I I'm not exaggerating when I tell you I had like a pit in my stomach.
But-
Like I felt like they were so ungodly. Like they were unseemly. They made me feel unwell because they were all just subtly disturbing. Like there is a really unnerving feature to them. And they just look like mini tumors or uh oh forgive me for even saying it, warts. Like
Oh, oh.
it's I feel like I need to put like a not safe for work tag if I add this to my wrap up because they look so atrocious. Uh, anyways, they're staring at me. They're actually on the desk with that I record on, and they're
Huh.
terrible. They're haunting.
You sent me the photo, and I sent you back that I think they look like the Flood from Halo.
Yes,
They're
yes. That was a very
monstrosities.
accurate description. Um, so yeah, it's all a ruse. I can't cast. Um,
There's a similar. I don't know about similar. When I was casting poorly, um, there was one batch that I made where like I did it wrong and I mixed the resin wrong,
hmm,
and um, it had been like plenty of time. It should have been hard.
right,
Um,
and it just didn't cure.
it just didn't cure, and
Hmm.
it wasn't liquid, but it was just like floppy. Like it was never
Yeah,
gonna set right.
yeah.
So I was like, oh crap, and I pulled them out and I put them in a pile next to the molds, um, and there they're just loose. I still have items. There's a video I put on Flickr at one point of me bending a cast of a custom AK I had sculpted,
Mm.
and I was just bending it like almost 90
Indefinitely.
degrees. Yeah, just it would mess up sometimes. And I thought this was another one of those cases. And I was right, but I was wrong because 2 days later, when I went to lift them from the spot where I had just like put them, they had cured
Oh,
extremely hard. They had cured to more brittle than normal, and they had
really?
fused to each other. So they're these warped, like, casts. And they don't have these gross bubbles, so they don't make you feel sick to
Unwell?
your stomach. Yeah, unwell, queasy. But they're kind of cool. It's like a pile of things fused together, and it's a bad off-white color again. But maybe I'll send you a pic. If not for the roundup, just for your own like
Yeah,
curiosity.
I am curious. That sounds
Interesting.
interesting. I'm glad my knife holster that I made actually turned out as one of the good casts, so I could at
Yeah,
least
you
play
gotta you
around
gotta
with
show
it.
me that. It looked great. So, Mr. Billy,
Oh please.
learning you're coming into your own as a sculptor. You've used it to enhance your figures for a while, but with this, I mean, you've got the
I honestly
means and the pressure now to make
very
your own
rarely ever
things.
sculpted anything. I was
Yeah.
too lazy to start even mixing the clay. That's what would stop me. I was like, but then I have to get it out, and then I gotta mix it, and then the thought stopped there, and I figured out another solution.
Yeah, that stops me too a lot. I hate secret. I hate sculpting. I just love
Dun
having
dun dun.
sculpting done.
Yes, yeah.
I love the effect. Anyway, you're coming into your own. You're going to be able to make whatever you want. What's on your
Oh,
list? What are you going to make?
oh boy. Billy with the sculpting abilities. What will he make? Huh. Well, I have a very long list. Um, I don't want to spill all the sauce, but hopefully I could. There's a couple different ideas here.
Okay. Right, save the best ones. Don't want nobody taking them.
One thing I've thought about for a long time, and this is actually something I sculpted. Um, like I posted this on Flickr. I was really proud of it at the time. I made like a puffer jacket, just because like APOC's cool, and I wanted like a dude with a puffer jacket.
Uh-huh.
So I'd consider trying that again. I think that'd be pretty neat. And
Oh,
then
I
that
gotta
would
see
be
this.
like a full. I don't know if it's still up. It's probably privated on Flickr. I'll send you a photo
Uh,
though. Um, So yeah, that'd be something I'd definitely consider. And then that's getting into casting torsos and arms and goodness.
That would be
Uh,
very cool. That would make Sam happy. You know, he loves puffer jackets.
so yeah, I mean, I definitely have to cross that bridge getting into the torsos and all. There really is just like a lot of trial and error yet to come. Um, let's see what else here. Oh, I don't know if he's listening, but he's been really receptive to some of the casting stuff I've been doing. Big homie Will Hoyt, Michael Will Hoyt. He was requesting gas masks, which I definitely have some ideas for.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, that would be great. Oh, you should do that.
yeah, so I have a few ideas in terms of what I'll do with that. Um, oh, let me tell you a crazy idea I had earlier. I don't think it'll work, but
Hmm.
I'm just gonna run it by you anyway. So I have this one-off piece I made. I ran a batch. I believe I sent you this of like a quote unquote overcasted um pouch where
Oh, I forgot about that.
so I
Yeah.
took the AR top, cut it off, so it was black AR top, and then I just poured in trans red into the rest of the mold, which was like the pouch part, and it fused together really strong. So like it's a very solid piece. Um, but it has like this sort of overmolded like a dual casted. I don't know, whatever you call it, right? So it does have me considering what sort of stuff I could stick into a mold and then cast over. And with you sending me hand designs, I'll just put it out there. You also sent me some tactical gloves, right?
Mhm.
What I was considering, and I don't think this will work, but I will try it at least once, is if I stick a normal Lego hand into the mold, I might have to create a special mold for this.
Mhm.
But if I stuck a normal Lego hand in and then poured the excess, which would just be like the design of the gloves, like the texturing and like the fingers, and if it just filled up that, I could have whatever color I wanted as a genuine Lego color, in addition to then whatever I have, like a black or white or gray maybe, whatever's accessible for my resin casting colors, and that could be the glove top print. But then I'd be able to use like a genuine Lego hand. I thought it'd be interesting. I don't think it'll work. I really doubt it'll work, but I'm gonna try it at some point.
That's awesome. I will tell you, it did work. I did it.
Really?
Yes, it worked very poorly.
Okay.
I think I only made either 3 or 4 sets of hands ever this way, out of who knows, maybe 10 tries. Right? So it really. But the thing is, I blamed all my problems at the time on not having a pressure pot.
Mm.
I didn't have anything to suck out these bubbles.
Yeah. No,
Which
I mean
in that case was fatal. They were huge bubbles, like it wouldn't connect around the wrist, sort of thing.
yeah. No, that's a genuine gripe. I mean, I think that like,
Let it out. Let us hear it. You hate bubbles.
oh, of
They're a huge
course.
problem.
No,
Tell us.
no. I mean, before I blamed every issue I had when I was just getting into it on the bubbles because that was the main issue. Granted, I now know I could have designed better molds that would have helped with the bubbles, but it would not have eliminated them entirely. Like it still would have been a substantial issue that I don't think I could have overcome without the pressure pot. So it's not like a scapegoat for you to say like, oh, you know, you're just blaming all your problems on the lack of a pressure pot.
Blame it on the boogie. Yeah. Anyway, do it. It worked. I had to like sculpt the areas that didn't fill.
I see.
Ones that worked well enough. But yeah, I could post a picture.
Well, that gives me hope. I will definitely give it a shot then. Once I make molds that aren't full of bubbles, hopefully.
Right.
I can't find this bubble jacket.
Hmm.
I don't know when I made this. Maybe it's more recent than I'm assuming. So
I pulled up your Flickr and faved a random photo like while this was happening.
thank you. I needed that. You remember like a month ago when people were saying they're going to bring Flickr back, and that lasted for 2 days? How funny was that?
And I was at the center of it. Oh, we knew it was never going to work, but it was fun. And it had some nice Flickr posts as a result, which is more than we normally get. So.
I would
That's
say that is an instance where I was absolutely cynical, more cynical than most.
fine.
I was laughing at the idea of even bringing back Flickr. It is long dead, and I might say I even rejoice.
Yeah, I know, I know. Oh, kids.
Kids with your Instagrams.
Kids who are right. Yeah. Oh well.
Man, this
At
is
least Flickr
really
still has notes.
oh, makes up for no real chatting features, I suppose.
What were you saying?
I seriously can't find this this bubble jacket.
Oh no! Now you have to make a new one.
Oh my gosh. I'd actually think I know where it is because it's in a bin I never access. Like I think I still have it, but that's too much work to have to go
Yeah,
find that.
yeah, it's more work than like putting the two halves of the sculpting putty together.
Yes, significantly more work. I could never.
You could just do like a front back, like glue on. You know.
I did consider that. I did consider that, and I could do that in tandem with then also making the arms. Like that's not a terrible. Because what you typically have to do if you decide to cast a torso is you have to cast the hips with it because you can't really cast the cavity of like
Mhm.
inside the body. From what I've seen, like a lot of other people do, it's pretty difficult to do that. Um, I mean, I might give it a shot, but we'll see.
Someday, I hope.
Yeah,
It does seem very difficult. I don't even know how you would do that. Like how you would make that mold.
just
I have one. Um, I don't know whether Andrew made it or Josiah made it, but it's a Bricks Alive cast
mhm.
where they cast the inner cavity, and there's flaws like around the meeting point of there. So like you're
Hmm.
right. Even those who could do it had to do it at a cost.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would gladly use a cast torso hip combination.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, at that point, you're definitely relying on you're if I'm making stuff like that, you have to paint it. Like with these pouches, you could sort of get away with not painting it, although they look far better painted. Um, the some of
Yeah,
them,
but people are really getting away with these folks you've sent samples to. They look good unpainted,
yeah,
and I'm loving it. Oh, this green
there's.
color you sent me, dude,
Oh, I hope you
it's
get
so
use out of that.
nice.
It's gonna be a weird one. Um, but yeah, some of them have like a weird glossy quality, which those don't pick up well on camera. But
Hmm.
otherwise, they're all pretty. If they are matte looking, they come out perfectly fine. Um,
Okay, real quick, Billy,
please, yes,
you're a Pennsylvanian, aren't you?
yes.
Are you? Which one are you loyal to, Sheets or Wawa?
Oh my God, that is such a poignant question, Tanner. Wow, nobody's ever. That is really a deep cut. Sheets all the way. Wawa could suck it. Yo, Sheets supremacy for sure.
I feel the same way.
Thank you. Yeah, that's an excellent question. Wow.
All of you from that state have a strong opinion, one way or the other.
Yeah, we do. But yeah, Sheets all the way, dude.
Should put this out there, like my stuff is getting produced. That makes me very happy. It makes me very elevated, but like I don't want anyone to think that I think that I'm the best sculptor out there, because holy shit, I am not. Oh my god. Whew. Like, people could have gripes about these designs of mine and they would be very correct. Okay, so like, just don't hold anything back. Like, I don't only hope that you collaborate with other better sculptors, um, so that I get cool stuff other people made, but also because they're going to be higher quality than a lot of the things I've sent you. So I really hope that happens.
I see. It was a genuine plea that I do reach out to other people.
Yeah. That's all.
I see. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have casted your pouches if I didn't appreciate the designs. So whether or not they could have been improved or they are superior, sculptors out there is indifferent. I'm indifferent towards those sort of facts. I like these designs as they are, so they were made, and here we are.
Oh, well, that's nice. Okay.
Copper drop.
Yeah.
Let's do it. It was just posted on Dan's story. We have new Brick Arms item, the NLAW, the Next Generation Light Anti-Tank Weapon.
Oh, when I saw Dan's story, like I didn't read Brick Arms, and it's funny because it says Brick Arms twice, but I didn't read that. My eyes went to it. I was like, wow, this is amazing. What am I looking at? Who made this? And then my eyes went to Nikita's paint job on the vest and minifigure, which only one person has, and that's Will. And I was like, oh, what? This is Brick Arms? And then I caught
and then you read it.
And then I read. Yeah. But wow, instant cop. It looks.
At least you got there eventually, you know?
Can you tell what color green it is? Is that
it's olive? It's gotta be.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe it could be one of those like weird hybrids like he did for the camo series where it's like that mix of it. I don't know. Yeah, I'd imagine it's just mixes. Olive and the colors are weird from the photo.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I didn't know that vest is from Nikita, but that's awesome.
Yeah,
shout out to Nikita.
The whole figure. I love the little viewfinder on it. It definitely vibes the HLC, which is banging. It's so good. We know. Everyone has one now. Satomi already modded one.
That was so crazy.
Good. Yeah, and that was wild. The little viewfinder just brings that to mind. Is the viewfinder on the new HLC? It's so good.
Yeah, him modding that really blew me away. I would have never considered anybody to mod that, and then use it on a big figure was just huge. Well, like a big model, I should say. That was sick. All right. Next item up here. We have from NN Figures, my buddy Eli. He made this Samurai Boba Fett design. How are you feeling about this?
Oh, yeah. I've been seeing that on his story. It's great, but it's a drop for me. I feel like it's a little bit... Well, I can't say it's too large because real samurai helmets were also kind of large like that. It's a great design. It's just like...
Not something you'd use.
It's not something I want.
Yeah.
Part of that is because... as we discussed earlier, like I feel the need to sand a lot of 3D prints, and his quality, actually, I'm not sure I would have to looking at it.
No, his stuff is quite good.
Yeah. Okay. So that's off the table, but still, it's like a huge paint effort to do.
Yeah, I get you.
Like, it's definitely a cool piece. I just don't particularly want a samurai themed Mandalorian, and it's not worth.
It's a niche market.
The 4 nights of painting and extra stuff I would have to do to have one. So it's not the like monetary cost that puts me off; it's the time cost.
I understand.
It's just like
hey,
not my project, someone else's project.
That's what the drop feature's for. It's not a complete, oh, I hate this. This is terrible. Why did you even attempt to bring this up to me? It's just like, realistically, I'm not going to buy this, but it is pretty nice. And that's what I would say for the... I sometimes don't actually answer these. Like, I most likely will not buy the NLAW, but it's incredible. You know what I mean? Like, I don't typically have a use for something like that.
I'm buying one.
Good. And I think from what Dan said is that the first design will be printed on, so it'll have their, like, perfect caliber treatment. So it'll be cool.
I might wait to paint my own because you know how we are.
You got it. Come on, you got to mod it. All right, last up, from printed by Minibigs, commissioned by Dash Bricks, currently available for sale through Dash. Previously mentioned homie who I flaked out on purchasing today because I didn't want to pay the shipping. Anyway, love you, Dash. Thanks. Sorry you live in Ohio. That kind of sucks for you. He has Red Dead Redemption Undead Nightmare DLC inspired heads. This is a cop, except I just haven't paid him yet, but they're there.
I'm glad we get your answer.
Yeah.
Wait. There are multiple heads? You only sent me one photo.
Oh, he just he has an alternative design that he was selling, which was Johnny Depp from some movie. I don't know. I
Oh shoot! Well, I gotta see that too. But okay, we'll focus on this zombie one here. It's pad, is it not?
Yep.
Wow. Wow. I'm on the side of cop, but I don't know how much it costs.
6 each.
Okay, yeah, that's a cop.
Yeah.
And the reason, not because I love Red Dead, because I don't, because I never played it, but
Neither
it
have I.
looks awesome. It's like one of those things I could dedicate time to. I just haven't. I'm sure it's wonderful. But it looks just like that art. I've seen that art,
Right.
and it looks just like it. But it looks so nice. This is legitimately one of the first times I have loved a zombie design, like a zombie head design. The first time I've seen it in years.
I hate to mimic exactly what you said, but basically all of those points are my reasoning. I've never played the game. Somehow am familiar with the art despite never playing it, just because it's sort of infamous. The
Yeah.
design, I'm not a fan of zombies, but the design just came out incredible. And yeah, damn, it just looks really
Looks
clean.
great.
Like 3-color pad print that looks crisp. I mean, I gotta get it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at the little, there's like lines, the black lines in
Mm-hmm.
the lip muscles. I mean, oh, that's great.
It came out excellent.
I could really, I think the thing uncommon between you and me here is I would buy it not to be a zombie, but to be like a Witcher zombie, some sort of
Ah,
necrophage or one of the monsters.
sure, sure.
Yeah. Not necessarily something featured in the games, but yeah, it would definitely have use for me.
Yeah, it's a cool piece. And so the alternative design he also got printed. I mean, it's not alternative compared to
Oh, there it is with blood in the eyes.
yeah, coming out of the
That's
glasses.
interesting.
It's from some
You've,
movie. I don't have the reference for it, but it's a cool piece.
it is cool. You didn't ask, but that one's a drop for me. I don't need it.
Yeah, yeah. I actually literally didn't. It's a drop for me too. I didn't buy one, so funny how that works. All right, Tanner. I believe we're at the
Wow.
end here.
Oh, that was so much fun.
It was truly excellent to talk to you. Yeah, it's a great time. I think what they say is that people enjoy talking about themselves. So if you can do that, then they'll come away from the conversation feeling as though it went really well. And I think I've bamboozled myself here, and I've talked all too much, and that made me feel like this was a great conversation.
I don't feel that way. We both heard each other out.
I agree. I agree. It is always excellent to have you on. Thank you for consummating the podcast and being the first guest. And thank you for being on once again. I hope to have you on again in the future. Is there any final thoughts you have for the listeners?
Ooh, that is an interesting use of the word consummate, but okay, I'll take it. It was my honor to be on the first one. You've had amazing and better episodes since then, and I'm happy to be on now. I'm ready for some of that brick by brick, piece by. Is that going to start like playing in the background right now?
Right now.
Like it's
just as you started.
Oh,
yep.
I'm hearing it. Oh, it's so good.
Oh my
It's
god!
so
Live
good.
from the studio audience at Bricks and Banner. That wraps up the podcast. I hope you enjoyed. I think you did if you made it all the way through. So if you did, rate us 5 stars, share it with a friend. Come back next time in 2 weeks from now. We're going to have an episode with AV Figures. That's right, we got Andrew on the podcast. Super excited for that episode. See you guys soon.